So we are back in our book. I think it was page 5 where we left off yesterday. Does anybody remember any of the dividing rules? We went over 2 dividing rules yesterday. Spears, what's one of them?
Before the last of 2 or more consonants.
Okay, before the last of 2 or more consonants. All right, Caleb?
Before a single consonant.
Okay, before a single consonant, good. And
Or in between
2
2 vowels.
vowels. So if we have our word Puelai, we have 2 vowels here, Pu divided El divided 2 consonants, and then Puelai. Remember the diphthong, the AE counts as 1 vowel, so it is 1 syllable. All right? Any other questions on that? So when the first one, the one that Spears read to us, we really didn't go over that in great detail yesterday. So I'm going to start with that one. If you look on section 3 of syllabication with the main rules, rule number 3 is before a single consonant. So the example word they give us is memoria. Anybody have a guess what that word might mean? Alex? Memorial. Okay, good. Yep. Leo?
Memory.
Memory. Yep. That's both are derivatives, and yours is correct. Good job. All right. So if I look at the word memoria, it says before the rule says before a single consonant. What that means here is we're going to put the division here. So let's think about for a second. What makes more sense? Mem or ria or memoria. That makes a little more sense, doesn't it? Okay, so that's what they mean before the single consonant. Yes, ma'am.
Is the whatever you said.
Memoria.
Okay, so they're not combined?
No, because it's not a diphthong.
Okay, I thought it was called.
No, the diphthongs, we have AU and AU and AE. The diphthongs are at the top of your sheet. And we have EI and UI. But AI is not a diphthong, or IA is not a diphthong. In fact, I don't think any diphthongs begin with an I. All right? And just as a reminder for everybody, a diphthong is something where we have 2 vowel sounds that are blended in together. All right? All right, so let's practice doing that. There's some special rules down at the bottom. We're not going to worry too terribly much about that. But we'll just kind of read over them real quickly. The rules are before a stop and a liquid combination. What they mean by a stop is if we have something and there's an obvious stop here, we really can't split it up. So an example from yesterday. You guys remember tempto? So the stop is between the P and the T. Does that make sense? Tempto. Does that make sense? All right. As opposed to the other way we could break that up. Tempto. That doesn't make any sense. In fact, there's really no way to blend this P to T without inserting some sort of vowel sound. So that's what they mean by a stop. So we're going to do it for the stop. Anytime after the letter X. So if we ever see the letter X, that's boom, there's a syllable break right there. And then flipping on to page 6, up at the top. Before, yes ma'am.
So is it kind of like what we do when we divide it like
Yes, it's very similar.
English except for
It's very similar. Only we have 3 main rules and then 3 kind of sort of special rules that we have to worry about. where English has something like 487 specific rules you have to remember.
I don't know.
I totally made up that number, but you get the point, right?
There's a lot.
Whenever we have similar things between Latin and English, typically speaking, English has more rules than Latin, right? The exception to that is with the endings. We don't have as many endings in English as we do in Latin. So you might remember the little catchphrase from 4th grade, Latin is a language, fewer words but many endings. You might remember that? Okay. Yep. All right. Before an S and a stop. In other words, the book gives us monstro. All right? No. To demonstrate, show, or point out. All right? So, monstro. How many vowels and diphthongs do we have in this word, friends? Just say it. How many do you see?
3.
2. You see 3. Where are my 3 vowels? Vowels? Okay.
Oh, vowels.
I only see 2 vowels up here. Okay? So remember, when it comes to making syllables, 1 vowel per syllable. All right? So if I have 2 vowels here, how many syllables can I have?
2.
You have to have 2. So I have to divide this word somewhere between here and here. So there's a whole lot of stuff there. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4 consecutive consonants there. So the rule is between an S and a stop. Yes? There we go. All right, between an S and a stop. So that's going to be monstro. Monstro. Okay? So again, think about that for a second. Monstro, that doesn't really make sense. Monstro, that doesn't make sense either. So whenever you see an S next to a stop of some sort, we're going to have the break there. All right. Do you see up at the top of page 6 where it says caveat discipulus? You see that caveat discipulus? You might recognize that word from last year, cavio, cavere, cavi, captu.
Nope.
Anybody remember what that word means? Spears?
Where?
Beware, or to warn, or to guard against. Cavio, cavere, cavi, captu. Okay, remember that now? So it literally means to warn or guard against. Caveat means let us beware, or let us be warned, or let us be aware. So when you see caveat discipulus, that is the book's way of telling you, okay guys, pump the brakes a little bit, pay a little closer attention to what's going on, because we have something special going on here. So caveat discipulus, let the student beware. The length of the syllable does not change the length of the vowel. If it is a short vowel, it stays a short vowel. If it is a long vowel, it stays a long vowel. If it's a diphthong, it stays a diphthong. And yesterday, did I say were diphthongs short or long? Does anybody remember? Say again? Yeah, they're long. Remember, diphthongs are long by nature. That's going to become important in the next section. All right? So, you see exercise 5?
Yeah.
Practice dividing the following Latin words into syllables and mark the length of the syllables. We're going to do that right now. Okay? So what I want you guys to do is I want you to, in your book, I want you to divide out those words. Now, the problem with that exercise is this. You may have trouble. Okay, so we're now on page 6, and we're talking about the accenting rules. So step 1 is syllabication, finding out how many syllables we use. Step 2 is now determining where do we put the accent. And again, if this still seems confusing to you after our lecture today, I posted those videos on the website, on the Google Classroom, that you can go back and rewatch. They're real short. They're like 5-10 minutes long. But they do a pretty good job of explaining some things. All right? So accents. Accents are where we put the vocal emphasis on something. Accents is where we put the vocal emphasis on something. So an accent is how do we stress one syllable versus the other. In the example that we started with yesterday, we talked about the word present and present. Sometimes it's present, here you go, and sometimes it's present, here you go. And how and where we make those accent breaks helps us with the pronunciation. As usual, surprise, surprise, English is way more complicated than the Latin when it comes to our accenting rules. Considering the following example, we will present the present to the birthday girl. Okay. They object to the object of the speech. You understand the difference? Object. I disagree. Object. This is the thing.
I object.
Same word. I object to your blurting, sir. Thank you, sir. In that example above, the underlined homonyms are spelled the same, yet each is pronounced differently. Why? Certainly Marcus or any other student attempting to learn English will be quite puzzled by this. Latin, on the other hand, accents words in a uniform manner. The rules for the accents are always as follows, and there's three. There are just three rules. If you have two syllables, the accent is always on the first syllable. So, ager. Always on the first syllable. In words that have more than two syllables, the accent is on the penult when it's long, or the antepenult when it's short. Now, here's what we mean by that. And I want to explain these terms as we get into our lecture for tomorrow. So the book just threw two really kind of crazy terms at us here. Penult. Has anyone ever heard of that word before? It's kind of a crazy word. It's one we hadn't seen before.
Wait, is that a Latin word?
Nope, it's not. It comes from a Latin word, but it has
Okay,
a
I was
Latin
gonna say
word.
it doesn't have a T.
All right.
Yes.
And then ante.
That one's Latin.
Penult. All right, does anybody recognize the beginning of this from your vocabulary from last year? Ante. Not? Yeah, Margaret? Yes, ma'am. Very good. So the penult is something, and we're going to talk about what that something is tomorrow. And the antepenult is, guess what? Before whatever that something is. Yep. Okay. So we're going to pick up with that tomorrow. All right, friends? So remember, when you're going back into your other room,